Hey friends, Mrs. McNeil here. So today we are going to be doing a really fun perspective project using our foreground, middle ground, and background. And we're going to be going to the circus with this one. You're going to need a few items. You're going to need a pencil with an eraser. You are going to need a piece of paper, and you're going to need something to color with. Now that can be crayons, color, pencils, markers, watercolors, whatever you've got. Just go ahead and gather those items and let's get started.
Okay, friends, so hopefully you went and gathered all of your supplies, including colors, because we are going to be needing them for today. Now, we talked about how when we're drawing, we are going to be looking at our foreground, middle ground, background, and then we have our horizon line right here with our sky. Now, we're going to be translating that information into a cool little circus scene together today. So go ahead and get your paper ready. Now, it doesn't really matter if your paper is vertical or horizontal. I'm going to be working vertical for today. So don't forget, we're always going to start off with our foreground first when we're drawing like this. Now, sometimes you can work with the background and then do a lot of erasing, but we're going to be starting in our foreground. Our foreground is our closest thing to us. And I'm going to be drawing a cool little bush right here, and you can kind of use some really curvy little lines, and you can slow me down at any point in time if I'm going too fast. So you can always see really good details when we're drawing in our foreground. Let's go ahead and draw a few little flowers. If you want to, you can draw all of the leaves. That's entirely your choice. All right, and add a little bit of texture in here using our curvy lines. There. Okay, so there is my first little bush. Now, when we're looking at this little circus, we have our fun little circus tent. So let's go ahead and draw that. It's going to go right here next to this. So I'm going to start with a curve right down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to go straight up. And I kind of went off the paper, and that's totally fine. Now, I'm going to do the same curve that I just did, like that. And then I'm going to do a line that goes up, like that. And notice how big this is. And then down. Now, the other side of my little circus tent is off of the paper. Now, we can add fun little details such as little curves that go around here. For our tent, you can add different colors, different lines that go in between, such as these. And look, I can go right on up here to the top of our tent. Alright, don't forget we want to put a little flag up here, a little flagpole, with our fun little circus flag. And I want you guys to get really creative. What kind of thing could be going on in here? You can open up one of the tent things, and this is the inside. So you can get really creative with that. Now, this is my foreground, but I haven't defined where my middle ground is yet. So I need to draw a line in between my little bush here and my tent. Now, if you have space on this side, you're going to want to continue that line. So we have just drawn our foreground. You can draw grass. You can see all these little details with our foreground. You can see everything really well. Now, our next line we're going to do is we are going to be making our middle ground. Now, in my middle ground, I want us to think about a really fun little character that we could do balancing on this little ball here. Now, we're going to draw that first, and we're going to draw the middle ground line afterwards. So let's go ahead and draw that character. And remember, it's going to be a little bit smaller. So I'm doing that circle, do line up, do another one. We're going to bring it all together here in a second. I'll do another circle, oops, right here. Now our character is balancing on this little ball, so I need to draw his little paw. Balancing on that. Going up towards it. Now we need to draw the little face of the little character, and I'm going to draw a little dog, which is pretty fun to draw. So I need to do a little circle here, His little eyes go right here. 1, 2. His little nose. And then I gotta think of his ears kind of flopping over this way. He's got his head right here, whoop, like that. And then it'd be kind of fun for his other ear to be kind of flopping that way. Now we have the rest of his body to do. And you have to think, so he's balancing. So we have one paw going out this way. Now let's draw the rest of his body. And it's kind of going straight up. He's got a little tail. Whoop. He's got his back leg. And then he's got this other back leg back behind that part right there. Now we have to close up this little balancing part right here, and you guys can get really specific with the designs inside. Whatever you feel like belongs there, you can get a little crazy with. So we've got some characters going on here. Now if you don't want to do a dog, you don't have to do a dog. Do whatever kind of character you'd like. But somewhere in this space, you're going to need a middle ground line. So I'm going to draw my line, and if I hit this little character, don't draw on top of it. Alright, and that line is going to continue. If you can see it on this side, make sure you do that. So we've got our big foreground, we've got our slightly smaller middle ground, and now we're going to have our even smaller background, but we're still at the circus. So I'm going to draw another line that goes up to this little guy. Oh, alright, and right in here. I'm going to draw another tent, but it's going to be much smaller than this one. So we're going to be able to see a lot more of it. So I'm going to do my curve. I'm going to do my line goes up. Line goes up. And then my curve here. And I'm going to go up here. And here. And a much smaller flagpole. Little details. Now I've got this still the same kind of, we're still drawing it small, but it's much further back. It's still going up here. Now I'm going to think of this as that's where it's opened up, right there. Okay, now let's continue this horizon line over here on this side. Continuing that. Now, you can leave it like this. Or you can add like a row of trees, you know, maybe they're in like a forest, and you've got some clouds up here. Something along those lines would be really good for this. So now, once we have sketched out all of our pieces, we've got our foreground, lots of details, see all the grass. Okay, we can see the ins, we can even see little things here. Maybe you have little people or characters poking out of here. You can see inside the tent. You know, it makes you want to go in, check out what's going on. Or, you can kind of darken it up like that. Now, all we have to do is, since you have defined where our foreground, our middle ground, and our background goes, now you are going to just color in the space. And you can do that doing a whole bunch of different ways. You can have a lot of fun with the coloring part. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of color a few things. You go ahead and get your stuff and have fun coloring. Now I am using Crayola markers with water, and it kind of turns into a watercolor when I do this. So just in case you were wondering what I'm doing, I'm using watercolor, or not water, I'm trained in using my Crayola markers and water, and it turns it into a lovely little watercolor at this point. Alright friends, and there we have it. We have our foreground, middle ground, and background of our circus. We have all of those things, and hopefully you really enjoyed making this. So have fun creating art, my friends.